Socrates. As a historical and cultural presence, no philosopher is more important than Socrates. Sufficient sources exist, especially Plato, to give us confidence that there was in fact a Greek philosopher from Athens named Socrates. In all but one of Plato's dialogues, Socrates is the central character and source, or at least mouthpiece, of philosophical doctrine. If his role in these writings reflects historical fact and accurately expresses Socrates' life and philosophy, then he deserves to be counted as one of the principal founders of Western philosophy and, indeed, Western thought. Even more significantly, at least for the discipline of philosophy, he deserves to be identified as the first moral philosopher in the Western tradition. This said, Socrates exists today as a shadow who apparently left no writings, certainly none survive, and is therefore known only through the accounts of several classical writers, paramount among them two of his students, Xenophon, circa 430 to 354 BC, and Plato. If we could accept Plato's Republic and the other dialogues as essentially accurate transcriptions of Socrates' philosophy, we would be able to credit him in detail with a trove of contributions to ethics and epistemology, and with essentially laying the foundation of Western philosophy. But the fact is that the Socrates we know is more accurately called the Platonic Socrates. He and his thought exist for us somewhere on a spectrum that spans transcription on one end and fiction on the other. Perhaps Plato gives us a highly faithful representation of the historical Socrates, or perhaps he puts his own words into the mouth of an essentially fictional character, a synthesis of recollection and invention. In short, we must accept that the only source of Socratic philosophy is Plato, and leave it at that. Thus, in this book, the entry on Plato is the place to find a discussion of the philosophy of Socrates. Importantly, the name of Socrates has been lifted to identify two methodological concepts that figure importantly in philosophy and rhetoric. These are Socratic irony, which is feigning ignorance as a means of confuting a rhetorical or philosophical adversary, and the Socratic method, a cooperative argumentative dialogue between or among individuals, which consists of asking and answering questions that stimulate critical thinking and therefore extract ideas and assumptions through the evolution of the resulting discourse.
Are you a philosophy student, or just have a general interest in philosophy? Since ancient times, brilliant philosophical teachings and dialogues taught by great luminous minds have deeply elevated the way we think and live. The Complete Philosophy Primer is a comprehensive, organized, easy-to-read, and all-encompassing guide specifically written for students in their first college-level philosophy course, as well as anyone with an interest in philosophy. With this jam-packed philosophical guide, you will optimize your knowledge in philosophy, logic, ethics, its history, and branches. Learn philosophical concepts, term definitions, and biographies. Find lists of essential books, films, blogs, websites, and other resources. Improve your writing skills. Learn how to argue effectively. And most of all, learn how to be a better student. Order your copy today to philosophize your mind and illuminate your wisdom.
The description of Socratic irony is based on an observation or assertion that Socrates was a master at convincingly pretending to know nothing of a topic under discussion, and to use that feigned ignorance to draw out from his adversary nonsensical or erroneous arguments. This form of rhetorical jiujitsu effectively prompted the adversary to confute or even refute himself. The Socratic method is much more profound because it is far more than a rhetorical tactic. It is driven by a key epistemological assumption that knowledge, or truth, is either discovered or created in thought that is expressed in language, the expression created by the dialogue of multiple minds over the span of the dialogue. Truth thus emerges through a progressive combination of hypothesis creation, hypothesis testing, and hypothesis elimination. As for the life of Socrates, bearing in mind that while accounts are relatively plentiful, considering he was a figure from antiquity, they do not extensively corroborate one another. The consensus is that he was born about 469 BC in Athens and died there in 399 BC. He was the son of Sophroniscus, a sculptor, and Phaenarit, a midwife. The family was well-to-do but not wealthy. Late in his life, he married Xanthippe, who, tradition has it, was a notorious shrew. The marriage produced 3 sons, none of whom achieved fame. It is believed he developed an interest in science as a young man and became the student of the physicist Archelaus of Miletus. He fought with distinction as a hoplite in the Athenian army and may have participated in combat at Samos, 441 to 440, and at the Battle of Potidaea, 432 to 430. In this engagement during the Peloponnesian War, he reputedly saved the life of the controversial general Alcibiades. Socrates, it is said, also fought at Delium, 424, and Amphipolis, 437 to 438. Socrates never sought or held public office, but nevertheless believed that no citizen had the right to refuse public duty. He served on the bull, also known as the Council of 500, during 406 to 405, and was the only counselor who stood against the condemnation of the Athenian generals accused of wrongdoing at the Battle of Arginusi, 406. In 404, he defied the orders of 30 tyrants, the pro-Spartan oligarchy installed in Athens after defeat in the Peloponnesian War, to make a politically motivated arrest of those generals. In 399, Socrates was tried for the crime of impiety and convicted of religious heresies and corrupting the Athenian youth. Sentenced to death, he declined an escape plan offered by his friend Crito and instead drank hemlock to carry out by suicide the penalty levied against him.